Welcome to the Near Memo, a weekly conversation about search, social, and commerce. What happened, why it matters, and the implications for local. Welcome to episode 39 of the Near Memo. I'm here with David and Mike, and we're going to be talking about lots of interesting things. In fact, we had a long discussion about what we were going to talk about because there are too many things to talk about this week. We won't be talking about the Facebook Meta rebranding / metaverse. Maybe we'll do that later. There's a lot to say on that. I do have to say a quick
comment. I can't resist the landing page for the rebrand, which if you type meta.com, that's how I got there. Is one of the most dystopian landing pages I've ever seen. It's a bunch of people, alone in their social metaverse with their VR goggles on, and there's one where a guy is like texting on his phone, and his girlfriend has this like, what the hell, man? Like, I'm right here kind of look on her face. It's just very, and Zuckerberg in this sort of, weird dystopian ex machina style landscape by himself. I mean, it's just a really horrific piece of marketing from a company that desperately needs better marketing. So,
and I saw on Twitter that Wendy's was going to rebrand as Meat.
That's one of the best responses I've seen. So anyway, that's not one of the main items. I just felt like
there have been a bunch of these brand jacking tweets that have been pretty funny. That Meat is very funny.
Good. Anyway,
in today's world, that might work as a fast food brand.
But then you'd have to sub-qualify whether it's real meat or synthesized meat.
That's right.
And then vegan synthesized meat, because McDonald's has been using synthesized meat for years. Okay, so we did talk about Meta, sort of, but also I'm writing about, but we won't be talking about the Uber All Fake Reviews report that came out together with the TripAdvisor,
which was a great report. I think people should download it if they haven't seen it. I thought you did a really nice job on it. So I can,
thank you.
Toot your horn if I
endorse
can endorse it.
You can endorse it. Well, I mean, regardless of whether or not my work is good, it's an important issue for the industry, and not enough is being done. And I'll put the download link in the newsletter today. But I am going to start off with an item that actually appeared last week in last Friday's newsletter, but really didn't get any coverage or discussion that I could see, and that was the announcement of Amazon's local selling, which is an effort by Amazon to essentially utilize its small business sellers in any given geography to act as buy online, pick up in store outlets or local delivery sources for
products.
Was
it just their products, or was it anyways products?
As far as I understand, it's third-party sellers, and it's their own products that they have in store, and they have to apply. Right now, you have to apply for this. And it's kind of a little bit under the radar, but I thought it was a fascinating announcement because Google's key strategy in competing with Amazon has been to show a mix of local inventory and e-commerce inventory, right? So they can sort of claim that we're the source of the totality of options for you, and to really emphasize the local online to offline kind of experience. And Amazon really, that's something that Amazon hasn't been able to offer, and now they're sort of dipping their toe in the water of trying to do something like that, and really leveraging their sellers to compete with Google. It's not so much a benefit for the seller as it is a benefit for Amazon ultimately if they can get this going at some kind of scale.
It's an area that Google, I thought, when they started this effort several years ago, I thought it was brilliant positioning by Google to create an alternative way of getting into reclaiming product search at a local level. And they've done a number of things with this regard, recalling Frugal, right? Making Merchant Center free, partnering with Shopify to get all this real-time inventory up. And now when you do a product search, you are likely to see local results, so Google has been killing it, I think, on this front. I don't know how much success they've had, but I think from a development point of view, and I see Amazon's response as to some extent, a day late and a dollar short. I'm not sure.
I also noticed, I happened to use Google Shopping a couple of times this week, and there was a filter in there I hadn't remembered seeing before, which is you can actually check smaller stores as a source of the products that you're looking at on Google Shopping.
What is the verbatim name?
Smaller
of the filter?
stores. Yeah, something
Mall
like
store.
that. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen that either.
That was
That's
new to me anyway, but I feel like there's a new SERP feature every day that seems new to me that Barry Schwartz covered 3 years ago. So, so anyway, I agree with both of what you guys are saying, or what both of you guys are saying in terms of Google's market positioning and everything else. I wonder on the Amazon front if it's not going to extend a little bit further. Mike, you've written historically that, or previously, that the Kohl's partnership for Amazon Prime has been a win-win for both parties, and it's not that far-fetched to see this rolling out to smaller merchants than Kohl's as part of this program.
You mean return?
Exactly,
making them into return centers.
Which is Kohl's has data to suggest that people buy X number of dollars in Kohl's every time they return an Amazon item.
Right.
So it's possible that something like that can come of this partnership as well. I continue to think that Amazon's real the real businesses that they're destroying are large CPG brands and large in-store brands, like traditionally in-store brands like Walmart, Target, big box stores. I think that their dent in local businesses has been a little bit overreported, and small businesses have seen tremendous success as marketplace sellers in much the same way that they have succeeded selling on eBay or other online marketplaces. So I think that this is it's good branding for Amazon. It's a good market strategy against Google, and I think that there could be longer term benefits for local merchants. So
to make a point on what you just said, like the Borders of the world went out of business, but there's now more independent bookstores than ever.
Is that true? Is that really true? That historically there have
I don't know
been
about more, but they're growing again. Like, let me put it that way.
Well, so interestingly, Amazon, and in addition to everybody else, this has been a very heavy week of earnings. Amazon reported their earnings yesterday, and I didn't look at them in detail, but one of the things that I did see was that their growth was really sort of flat to non-existent, right? So what's happened is people are starting to go back into stores essentially, and they're buying less stuff online, and Amazon is seeing that in its numbers, and so this may partly be. I think everything that we've talked about is true. And I think your point, David, about some of these stores being return, places where people can return products is really a fascinating one. But I think that this is also partly a response to what's going on in the broader market, is that Amazon really fundamentally recognized that the offline component is really essential for, future growth. And there are all sorts of ways in which they've developed offline, presence, including sort of hypothetically their own discount stores, which they may or may not open, but that was a rumor.
Yeah, their expenses were way up too, as they sort of had to cope with supply chain issues and delivery issues, and they doubled down on investing in that, so their expenses were way up. Although usually with Amazon, I don't see that as a big issue, because usually when they invest like that, it's not just a short-term thing. They're building capacity. And I saw, tangentially to that, I saw that they have now become the number 3 package deliverer in the United States, I think, passing FedEx, and to be third behind UPS and United States Postal Service.
Yep. Well, we could talk a lot more about Amazon and a lot of interesting things going on there, but I want to move on in the interest of time.
Thanks for joining David, Mike, and Greg. To stay on top of the latest developments in local, subscribe to our newsletter at nearmedia.co. We'll see you next week.